And let's now take a look at what will happen next. Who might replace Boris Johnson as the next prime minister? Johnson said Thursday that he was stepping down as conservative leader, but he said he would remain in number 10 Downing Street until Britain's ruling party elects a successor, which could take months. Here's Aribel Celestino for the report. Aribel.
UK Prime Minister has agreed to resign following an open revolt from his fellow Conservatives.
How much consideration are you giving to the prospect of your resignation?
I'm happy to tell you that I'm getting on with the job that I was elected to do, and that is what I'm going to do.
So all these problems are basically somebody else's fault?
No, I think that I think it was
so who is
one of these people who's left.
Who is responsible? Who should we hold accountable?
I am responsible, but I'm also responsible, Bernard, for delivering a huge manifesto commitments that we made in 2019, many of which are now coming through.
More than 50 ministers, including senior members of his team, have stepped down, citing a lack of confidence in Johnson's leadership.
Mr. Speaker, I'm not going to trivialise what happened. A decade increasing national insurance threshold.
Here's Starmer.
He knew the accused minister had previously committed predatory behaviour, but he promoted him to a position of power anyway. Why?
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, he is no longer, as soon as I was made aware of the allegation that he has just read out, Mr. Speaker, and the complaint that was made, he lost his status as a Conservative MP. And
it was the same when taxpayers' money was being abused, and it was the same when he and his mates parted their way through lockdown. Anyone quitting now, after defending all that, hasn't got a shred of integrity. Mr. Speaker, isn't this the first recorded case of the sinking ships fleeing the rat?
Mr.
Does the Prime Minister think there are any circumstances in which he should resign?
But frankly, Mr. Speaker, the job of a Prime Minister in difficult circumstances when he's been handed a colossal mandate is to keep going, and that's what I'm going to do.
It has been an absolute privilege of my life to have been trusted with these responsibilities. Caring for people's health and well-being is truly a noble vocation. But treading the tightrope between loyalty and integrity has become impossible in recent months. And at some point, we have to conclude that enough is enough. I believe that point is now.
Johnson will resign as a leader of his Conservative Party, but will stay on as Prime Minister until a new leader is installed, bringing an end to an unprecedented standoff that has threatened to paralyze the British government.
It is clearly now the will of the Parliamentary Conservative Party that there should be a new leader of that party and therefore a new Prime Minister. And I've agreed with Sir Graham Brady, the chairman of our backbench MPs, that the process of choosing that new leader should begin now. And the timetable will be announced next week. And I've today appointed a cabinet to serve, as I will, until a new leader is in place. And the reason I have fought so hard in the last few days to continue to deliver that mandate in person was not just because I wanted to do so, but because I felt it was my job, my duty, my obligation to you to continue to do what we promised in 2019. But as we've seen at Westminster, the herd instinct is powerful. When the herd moves, it moves. And my friends, in politics, no one is remotely indispensable. And our brilliant and Darwinian system will produce another leader. And to that new leader, I say, whoever he or she may be, I say I will give you as much support as I can. And I want you to know how sad I am to be giving up the best job in the world.
Almost a third of the government had quit their jobs because of Johnson's integrity on the handling of former Deputy Chief Whip Chris Pincher, who has been suspended as a Tory MP over sexual misconduct allegations, the cost of living crisis, the Partygate scandal. It all has been building up. There are strings of candidates who are in the running for becoming the next Prime Minister. One is Jeremy Hunt, the former Foreign and Health Secretary, lost to Johnson in the 2019 leadership contest. His style is more measured and he appeals to the center-right traditional conservative membership. He campaigned to stay in the European Union in the 2016 referendum. Some members of the Conservative Party has dubbed him as Theresa May in trousers. As Foreign Secretary, Liz Truss is popular among Conservative Party members, liked for her outspokenness and willingness to go on a political attack. She's a prominent figure, Britain's response to Russia's war in Ukraine, as well as handling ongoing post-Brexit negotiations with the EU. She's part of the libertarian wing of the Conservatives. When she headed the Department for International Trade, some MPs dubbed it the Department for Instagramming Truss because of her prolific output on social media site. A self-declared low-tax Tory, and she supported Remain in 2016. Rishi Sunak rose to prominence during the pandemic after he unleashed tens of billions of pounds to help businesses and workers, causing his popularity to soar. His popularity started to fade as controversies regarding his wife, non-dumb tax status, a perception of him being too slow to react to Britain's cost of living crisis, and a fine participating in an illegal Downing Street gathering during the pandemic have all hit his reputation. Sajid Javid is the son of a Pakistani immigrant bus driver. Before politics, he had a successful banking career. He was made Home Secretary by Theresa May and Chancellor of the Exchequer by Johnson. His tenure as Chancellor was short-lived. He quit after refusing Johnson's demands to fire his most senior aides. Tom Tugendhat is a former soldier. He fought in Iraq and Afghanistan. He is a prominent backbencher, but now chairs the Parliament's influential Foreign Affairs Committee. He was also the first to announce he would run in any leadership contest. First elected in 2015, Tugendhat voted to remain in the EU. He's been a regular critic of Johnson and has been outspoken in foreign policy matters, especially in the need to take a tough stance on China. Currently, a trade minister, Penny Mordaunt, is viewed in the party as likely to run but considered a long shot. A strong Brexit supporter and key figure in the 2016 Leave campaign. She has been tipped as a potential unity candidate who could draw support from the Conservative Party's warring factions. She helped in orphanages in Romania before going to a university, and at one point she was a magician's assistant. A self-made millionaire, Nadim Zahawi trained as a chemical engineer and went on to co-found the polling firm YouGov. Zahawi is a former refugee from Iraq who came to Britain as a child speaking no English. His role in Britain's pandemic vaccines rollout has earned him praise and a promotion to head the education department in September. Defense Secretary Ben Wallace has narrowly topped some recent polls of Tory grassroots preferred next leader due to his role in the Ukraine crisis and during Afghanistan's evacuation crisis. The former Army captain Wallace entered the Parliament in 2005 after previously serving in the Scottish Parliament. He won plaudits in 2008 for his work campaigning for transparency around the MP's expenses. And Deputy Prime Minister and Justice Secretary Dominic Raab, 48, led the country when Johnson was in intensive care in hospital with COVID-19 in 2020. The former lawyer and karate black belt is seen as a reliable ally. But his move to justice from the post of Foreign Secretary was seen as a demotion after he initially failed to cut short a holiday as the Afghan capital, Kabul, fell to the Taliban. Reporting from London, United Kingdom, back to you, Alma.